Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're going to unpack the terrifying chronological cascade of a total global internet blackout. Just imagine for a second waking up to a world enveloped in absolute digital silence. We aren't just talking about your connection running slow or a popular app crashing for a couple of hours. We're exploring a scenario where absolutely every server, every cloud storage system, and every single wireless signal connecting our planet just vanishes completely. So let's dive right into this massive question that really kicks off our whole analysis. What if the digital world just suddenly stopped? Honestly, this is pretty much the absolute worst case scenario for the 21st century. It forces us to ask how our modern world, the one we've spent decades building, would actually react if its very foundation was permanently erased in the blink of an eye. 5 billion. Our sources highlight this staggering number of daily users just to show the massive human scale of the internet before, well, pulling the rug right out from under us. At this exact second, over 5 billion humans are tethered to the network. To put that into perspective, that is more than half the population of the entire planet, all relying on the exact same underlying technology to navigate their daily lives. The crucial takeaway here is that we don't just use the web for entertainment anymore. Our entire survival hangs on these invisible digital threads. We literally live inside the internet. Think about it. Our financial systems, our food supply chains, the power grids, emergency communications, even our personal identities. They're entirely dependent on these invisible digital pathways. If they snap, everything else falls right down with them. Section 1. Minute Zero, no signal. The whole disaster begins without any explosions or warning sirens. The data simply stops flowing across the globe. Those vital data packets traveling through the immense network of deep ocean fiber optic cables, they just cease transmitting. There's no dramatic Hollywood event. It's just an unexplainable, instantaneous halt of absolutely all global digital communication. Because of that, we'd all immediately fall for a shared illusion. Whether at home or at work, we would all mistakenly assume it's just a localized glitch. If you're on your couch, your video buffers, you check your router, and you see that frustrating blinking red light, right? You ask your family if the Wi-Fi is down. Meanwhile, in offices and out on the streets, people are pulling their heads away from their screens, bewildered, frantically mashing the refresh key. Everyone just assumes it's their own local provider acting up. Now, here is the tragic irony of the situation. No one actually knows the sheer scale of the disaster because the internet is required to check the news. Think about it for a second. How do you find out if there's a global outage? You check social media or you pull up a news website, but that very tool is already dead. This creates a terrifying delay in the human response, keeping everyone in this temporary state of innocent annoyance rather than kicking us into survival mode. Section 2. Hours 1 to 6, paralysis. As we hit the 1 to 6 hour mark, a cascading failure shows exactly how quickly transportation unravels, moving from uncoordinated traffic lights to totally useless GPS systems, trapping everyone in massive gridlock. Modern traffic lights rely heavily on internet-connected algorithms to manage car density. Without that connection, they just default to flashing yellow or shut off completely. At the exact same time, ride-sharing apps die, and millions of drivers are suddenly lost in vast cities without their GPS maps. Within just 2 hours, the world's major capitals would experience the most massive, unmovable traffic jams in human history. And meanwhile, up in the sky, air traffic controllers lose critical digital data, forcing planes to land blindly using old-school visual and radio systems. While military and basic radio waves would still function, the complex flight plans, weather updates, and inter-airport communications rely completely on closed and open internet networks. Immediate emergency orders would force all planes in the sky to land at the very nearest available runway. All subsequent flights are canceled, instantly turning global airports into chaotic holding pens for millions of stranded travelers. Section 3. Hours 6 to 12, financial collapse. Entering hours 6 to 12, we have to consider this modern dilemma. Our digital money becomes utterly useless, creating a desperate, immediate need for physical cash that almost no one actually carries anymore. We basically live in a cashless society. Our wealth isn't gold sitting in a vault, it's just binary code, zeros and ones sitting on a bank server. When the internet vanishes, that digital wealth literally ceases to exist in any practical way. Naturally, you would rush straight to the bank to get cash, only to be met by locked doors and this exact chilling error message on every ATM screen. Hundreds of thousands of people would flock to branches, But bank tellers have absolutely no way to verify your account balance or log a withdrawal because all those records live securely in the now dead cloud. You are entirely locked out of your life savings. And when your digital wallet inevitably fails at the grocery store, you would hear this terrifying absolute phrase from the cashier. You go to buy basic, essential supplies for the next few days, but Apple Pay, Google Pay, and all your credit cards are suddenly just completely useless pieces of plastic and glass. Most people in developed cities simply do not carry enough physical coins or bills in their pockets to buy even 2 days' worth of groceries. So, the crucial point on a macro level is that multi-billion-dollar tech companies are instantly reduced to nothing more than useless concrete buildings and dead computers. Wall Street, the London Stock Exchange, Tokyo, they all freeze. Billions of dollars in trades evaporate into thin air. Corporations whose entire market value is based on the internet, like Google, Meta, and Amazon, they technically lose all their value in mere seconds. Section 4. Hours 12 to 24. Total isolation. Now, you might be thinking, well, I'll just make a regular phone call. But even traditional phones stop working, meaning you have absolutely no way to know what is happening in the next town over, let alone the rest of the world. The reality is that modern cell networks and even landline switches heavily rely on Voice over Internet Protocol, or VoIP. Combine that structural weakness with the sheer crushing overload of billions of people trying to call their loved ones at the exact same time, and the entire telecommunications grid completely collapses. Driven by the fear of starvation and the unknown, people panic by remaining supplies with whatever cash they have left, leading to instant hyperinflation and violence in the streets. Society's only lifeline for information shrinks back down to old-school terrestrial radio and broadcast television. The fear of not knowing when food will arrive next triggers absolute chaos at grocery stores and gas stations. Prices for essential goods double on the spot for those lucky enough to have cash, and physical altercations actually break out over basic necessities like bread and fuel. What's truly frightening here is that law enforcement cannot even coordinate to stop the chaos, as their own modern digital radios are completely dead. Local police are suddenly facing an unprecedented security crisis across entire cities, but they are just as isolated as the citizens. The encrypted digital communication systems they rely on to dispatch units and coordinate responses have totally failed, leaving them unable to effectively restore order. Section 5. The end of day 1. A new dark age. As the first 24 hours wrap up, the world goes to sleep in a totally different reality. But to conclude this explainer, we have to leave you with this final, provocative thought drawn directly from our sources. How much worse will it get when the actual, essential resources dry up next week? The first 24 hours were really just the breakdown of communication and finance. But what happens when the digital systems controlling our water purification, our power plant grids, and our global shipping networks officially run out of automated reserves? It is a terrifying scenario to consider. Thank you so much for joining me as we unpack this material. Stay curious, stay informed, and we'll see you in the next explainer.